Thank you again for being here. This is the League of Women Voters Candidate Forum for Colorado State House District 21. I am your host, Shelley Roars, spokesperson for the League of Women Voters of the Pikes Peak Region. We are coming to you live from the Widefield Parks and Rec Center, so thank you again for joining us. Our candidates tonight are candidate Mary Bradfield and candidate Liz Rosenbaum, so thank you for being here. Our moderator this evening for our second forum is Dorina Longmire with Longmire Audio Engineering. So welcome, Dorina, and go ahead and take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Shelley. I appreciate that. We're going to get right to it and have the first candidate Bradfield, and she'll have 2 minutes for an opening statement, followed by candidate Rosenbaum, who will also have 2 minutes. And the timekeeper will start right now.
Thank you. Good evening. I am Mary Bradfield, the state representative for House District 21. I am very pleased to be here with you this evening, and I do want to thank the League of Women Voters and Widefield Rec Center for hosting this event tonight. I have lived in this district for many years. My husband and I vacationed here in Colorado many times, and we always thought that it would be great if we could ever get stationed here. And when that happened, when that opportunity came up, we were thrilled. Not long after arriving in Colorado Springs, I began looking for a teaching position. I was hired by Harrison Schools, and I began my nearly 30 years of working for this district. Most of the time was spent at the middle school level, teaching language arts with various social studies and science classes along the way. I was raised in a politically active family in Iowa, and it was not long being here before I began helping various candidates with their campaigns. With a family and work, I didn't have a whole lot of time to help, but I was pretty good at stuffing envelopes, handwriting addresses, and licking stamps. And I see some of you are nodding your head knowing what I'm talking about. As the years passed, I watched candidates come and go, win and lose. I carefully observed candidates that ran successful campaigns and had successful legislative careers. Feeling sure that I had what it takes, I ran for this position for the first time in 2020.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry, we're going to have to wrap you up.
Okay, candidate Rosenbaum. Thank you.
Hello, I am so happy to see so many friendly, smiling faces in the audience. I'm Liz Rosenbaum, and I'm running for House District 21. I'm so grateful that you're all here, whether you're in person or tuning in online. I want to thank my husband, Dan, for this is my 4th campaign that I have done personally, alongside of managing 20 other campaigns for other candidates. Thank you to League of Women Voters and the other sponsors, and to Mary Bradfield for agreeing to this forum. As many of you know, I'm Liz Rosenbaum. This is my 3rd time running for the state representative seat. I keep coming back because I believe deeply in the potential of the Fountain Valley communities. And you all want me to keep going because we won't stop until we secure the future we deserve. Our community deserves safe, clean drinking water, not just for today, but for future generations. We've already faced 5 major water disasters, and we cannot afford another. It's time for decisive action to protect our water systems here and across the state. I'm the only person here today who is leading the charge. We also need accessible health care that doesn't force families to choose between their health and their bills. That's why, as a health insurance broker, I'm committed to obtaining a hospital south of Platte, more doctors, and facilities. Finally, we must protect and empower our youth with an education that opens doors for them with increased funding for public education. They deserve every opportunity to succeed. But I can't do this alone. Together, as we continue to do over the years, working together, we can make real, lasting changes, whether it's sharing our message or you casting your vote, because that is your voice. Let's make Fountain Valley a place where every single family and person thrives. Thank you for your support, and let's make our vision a reality.
Okay, thank you both for your opening statements. And so we're going to go on to the candidate questions, and each candidate will have five questions to answer. And the first question that we have will be answered by candidate Bradfield. I'm sorry, candidate Rosenbaum, followed by candidate Bradfield. And your time will begin when I finish the question. The first question is, what experience do you have working with organizational budgets? And you have 1 minute.
Sure. As a small business owner, from running my cafe for 8 years to managing my current health insurance brokerage, I have extensive experience with organizational budgets. I know how to create, manage, and analyze budgets, including forecasting income and expenses. I know how to monitor financial performance, making necessary adjustments, and sometimes on the fly. Budgets are not just numbers. They reflect the strategic priorities, values, and morals of our state. It also shows what type of leadership is in charge. I understand how to align financial resources with goals. This way, we can ensure financial responsibility while supporting key initiatives.
Okay, thank you. Now, candidate Bradfield, same question.
Thank you. I have had lots of experiences with budgets, not only family, personal, but professionally. Fortunately, I had a budget for my classroom, and as a department chair, I had a budget for that. As a staff development person, I had a budget for staff development. I was also part of the budget process for our school district on the curriculum side. So I do have quite a bit of experience. And then later in life, I have experience with the campaign, various campaigns, including and especially my own for a budget. I think I can handle it pretty well. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question for candidate Bradfield. What activities do you support in Colorado Springs or in El Paso County? And you have 1 minute for that as well.
Okay. Thank you for that question. There are many activities and organizations that I support. I am not going to name specific ones, but I will name the purpose. And I support our police, our firefighters, our first responders, our government officials. I really respect and support the people who supply and take care of and come and repair our utilities. I respect small business, service industries, people who give their time, talent, treasure to assist people who cannot help themselves. And I know there are many others, but that was the first list. Thank you.
Okay, and the same for you, candidate Rosenbaum.
All right, thank you. I've been the lead of the Fountain Valley Clean Water Coalition since 2016, working on 7 state laws and securing federal funding to protect our community's water. Recently, my own water district in Wigwam has received a total of $410,000 in grants to filter the water 8 years after all the other municipalities have been successfully doing it. I proudly support organizations like Inside Out Youth Services, League of Women Voters, Parasol Patrol, PFLAG, and Cobalt Advocates. Professionally, I'm a member of NAACP, which is funny, but it's a health insurance broker that's organization that's local, statewide, and federally, which allows me to participate in healthcare legislation both in Colorado and nationally. Additionally, I've held various roles in the El Paso County Democratic Party and recently serve as the Executive Committee and the State Central Committee. I've dedicated my career to fighting for people in our community, and I'm ready to continue that work as your representative And when my kids were in school, I was Rosenbaum.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next question is for, Rosenbaum, you will be able to start, candidate Rosenbaum, excuse me. And the question is, what plans do you have to communicate with your constituents?
All right, thank you. When I'm elected, I will prioritize open communication with our community. I will send out weekly newsletters to keep you updated on the bills that we are working on together, and I will hold at least one in-person town hall each month during the legislative session. When needed, I will also hold virtual town hall meetings in the middle of the week when things are particularly directed towards our community. For specific bills that groups or individuals are working on with me, we will have even more direct communication to ensure your voice is heard throughout the process. My cell phone number is open. When you call me, I'm going to text you right back, call you right back, email you right back. I am known in this community as a person that will whip together a town hall real quick to solve a problem.
Okay, thank you very much. And candidate Bradfield, the same question for you.
Thank you for
1 minute
that question. I do have a website, and during the session, that website is updated frequently. I continually post my cell phone number, and I am always good about returning calls if you leave a message. I also am open to having town hall meetings. I am open to newsletters. We have done that in the past. My office door is always open, and I always have time to meet with constituents and to listen to their concerns and try to do my best to help them. I have an open door policy. Thank you.
All right, thank you both. The next question will be answered first by candidate Bradfield, and you have 1 minute to answer this as well. Name your top 3 priorities for the county and state.
Thank you. The priorities that I ran on in 2020 are still my priorities, and they are still a challenge for Colorado. And these priorities are affordable housing, mental and behavioral health, and public safety. Each of these is a big deal. And there are many barriers and potholes that come with each that need to be handled or solved. Hopefully in the course of this forum, I can help you understand what I have done in these 3 priority areas. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the same for you, candidate Rosenbaum.
All right, thank you. As many of you know, I am constantly working on clean and safe drinking water. Case in point, 8 years later, the water in Wigwam will start to get filtered in January of 2025. And that comes with cooperation with the federal EPA, federal legislation, and local grants. Access to health care. I want to make sure that I continue the work and participation that I do with healthcare legislation that is going through our regular sessions by actually writing the bills that help us. For a viable economy, we need a strong, viable economy that supports our community. I am committed to developing more actionable plans to increase public school funding, ensuring our children receive a quality education. We also must provide opportunities for upscaling for our young people as they transition out of the military. We have the highest military population here. We don't have a hospital south of Platte. There are 9 north of Platte. And I'll tell you more about that later.
Thank you. Sorry, we're out of time for that question. On to the next question. And candidate Rosenbaum, you'll be the first one to answer this one. You have 1 minute to do so. How do you plan to work with other layers of government?
All right, thank you. As your candidate for House District 21, my main goal is to ensure that the voices of regular people are heard, louder than those of corporate interests that often harm our communities. I plan to continue building on the strong partnerships I already have with our local government and at the state level. I advocate for policies that prioritize our community needs. I will also collaborate with state and federal representatives to secure the resources necessary for clean water, accessible health care, and quality education. Together, we can create a government that truly serves the people and works for a brighter future for all of us.
All right, thank you. And I have the same question for you, Candidate Bradfield.
Thank you. When I work with other people, I do it with a collaborative attitude and collaborative expectation. I do work with problem solving and get viable solutions that will work, not something pie in the sky. I believe the best way to solve problems is to treat each other with courtesy, respect. I appreciate people's expertise, knowing that I may not be an expert in their field. I expect to be honest with other people, and I expect honesty from them. And certainly in all of my dealings with anybody in government or outside of government, transparency is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have another question. This one, we also have 1 minute for each candidate, and we'll start with Candidate Rosenbaum. Candidate Bradfield, I'm sorry. What are your plans for protecting the environment, especially regarding improving air quality?
Okay, thank you. Air quality for Colorado is something that has many people concerned. With the forest fires that have come and the smoke that have come through, it makes it seem very urgent to do something. I believe that we need to listen to the science about climate and about the atmospheric conditions and not get derailed and sidetracked by what sounds good, but know that we need to be very careful about the choices we make, because our children, we want them to live in a clean environment as well.
Okay, thank you. And the same question to you, Candidate Rosenbaum.
Would you repeat it, please?
I will. What are your plans for protecting the environment, especially regarding improving air quality?
Thank you. I know that our state is on a fast track to eliminate carbon emissions so we can have a better environment for our children to move into. Currently, Drake has been closed, and there is several different parts of that include our district here in the Fountain Valley. The big solar fields are being put in, and we also are using natural gas. Ray Nixon is slated to be closed in 2030. The problem that we're foreseeing right now with that is the cost that it is taking to transition from coal to a cleaner energy. And I want to make sure that we have a time frame that is doable for our utility companies so they're not rushed, and it brings down the impact of our costs in our utility bills.
All right, thank you. There is a follow-up question to that last one, and I would like Candidate Bradfield to answer first, and you'll have 1 minute to do so. What should the legislature do when it comes to addressing the greenhouse gas emissions and regulating oil and gas development?
Thank you for the question, and thank you for the person who submitted that question. I really believe that the state legislature has done quite a bit in those areas. There is, and they've been working with the Environmental Protection Agency Administration on those issues for quite a few years. Greenhouse gases, there is a level that is considered acceptable and not acceptable, and it's depending on where you are. Basically, I want to say that I think The state is really either on top of it or it will be on top of it very soon. And this is something that has and is being addressed by the state legislature.
Okay, thank you. And Candidate Rosenbaum, the follow-up question, I'll repeat it again just in case. What should the legislature do when it comes to addressing the greenhouse gas emissions and regulating oil and gas development?
All right, so as oil and gas is being regulated by the Colorado Department of Health and Public Services in conjunction with the EPA, there are very specific areas within the state of Colorado that have the highest impact and those that have a lower impact. There are some bills that have been very successful, such as in Colorado Springs, you can ride the bus for free in August. Well, that is different in Grand Junction because of how the air quality is more intense in December. So when I am looking at legislation, I want to make sure that it is flexible for the different areas that it will affect. And not all areas are going to get the same amount of funding in the different bills that we are trying to solve these very complex problems with to eliminate carbon in our air.
Okay, thank you. Another question that I have, and Candidate Bradfield, I'd like you to answer that first, and it is regarding the housing supply. The legislature has passed several bills in the past couple of sessions to try to address the housing shortage in our state. Are the solutions that have been put in place sufficient? And if not, what solutions does the legislature need to consider?
Affordable housing is more than just a small problem like throwing a lot of money at it. Affordable housing also includes inflation because of the cost that builders have for the materials, and by the time they have paid the inflationary prices. Other things on affordable housing that make it difficult for a home to be affordable for a young family to pay a 30-year mortgage on, is that our state legislature has been very good about attaching fees and taxes and restrictions and many other things to jack up the price of the home.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm looking at our gatekeeper. 5 more seconds to complete your answer clearly.
Okay. Thank you. To have affordable housing, we need to take a very good look at what do people need, what is needed to build an affordable home. If that means that we need to lessen the restrictions, lessen the fees for certain things, then let's do that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And Candidate Rosenbaum, I have another question for you regarding...
If you want to restate that one.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. The housing supply. In regard to that, the legislature has passed several bills the past couple of sessions to try to address the housing shortage in our state. Are the solutions that have been put in place sufficient? And if not, what solutions does the legislature need to consider?
So with the housing market, we need to let it give time to adjust. In 2009, we had the big housing crisis where absolutely all building halted. And we are still seeing the result of that. Banks got a bailout, homeowners did not, property taxes weren't paid, and schools took the hit. Slowly over time, more multifamily homes were built, and then single-family homes. We're still stuck in that recession from home builders. I would absolutely not cut out oversight of the buildings, because then we're just setting up our young people with a house that's going to fall apart 10 years after it's built. One thing that I really want to get through this legislative session that seems to pop up quite often is a Homestead Act. We have people who are older than the age of 65, who then have a certain percentage of their home not taxed. I would like for them to take that homestead tax with them so they could downsize their home, get into something that is more cost-effective and easier for their mobility. Those are some of my solutions.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you both. The next question that I have is candidate Rosenbaum, you'll answer it first. Regarding construction defects. A construction defect bill failed at the state legislature this year. It's likely to come back again. How would you vote on it? Yes or no? And would you need to be in the, what would you need to be in the bill for you to vote either way?
Right, so I'm also on the Women's Chamber of Commerce, and this was brought up in our policy committee that I was also participating with. It's failing because not all parties are hearing their voice, and there's not a solution yet. I don't have a solution for this. That's why it's not passing. My idea is to make sure that we have every single voice at the table, and the most important voice at this table are the people who are living in the condos, who are dealing with these construction defects, and what they want as a solution needs to be the solution. This way, their homes are protected, it is generational wealth, it gets our young people into a home that they can afford, and the first house we built here 20 years ago was $189,000. It just sold for $450,000. Our kids in their young 20s cannot afford to live here because of how expensive their homes are. And they're older than my husband and I were when we bought our first home.
Okay, thank you very much. And candidate Bradfield, would you like me to repeat the question, or you, okay?
No need, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Construction defects are a fact of life, and fortunately in some building situations. In fact, if this is coming up soon in the legislature, I am quite surprised and amazed, because each year some group talks about, let's get a bill going on construction defects, and it seems to just never get there. So I would like very much for it too. I do believe that the industry, that is the building industry, the builders themselves, the suppliers of materials, and the labor need to work together, because this is a problem they can solve. If it also means that we have to take less responsibility as a government and let the building industry take care of it, I think that is a possibility. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I have another question that I need to move on to. Did I give you the opportunity to answer that clearly? Okay.
Yes.
The next question that I have is an audience question. And what is your plan? This is 1 minute for each candidate, and the candidate that will be answering this will be candidate Bradfield first. And the question is, what is your plan to better support disabled Coloradans?
Thank you for the question from the audience. I appreciate that. I have been able to work with several legislators on bills that is exactly that, in order to make sure that people with disabilities are getting the services that they need in a timely manner. And I'd be very glad to discuss what those bills have been since after this forum. And I will just mention that the developmentally and intellectually challenged people and the blind, deaf community are just several that I have been working with. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Same question for you, candidate Rosenbaum.
All right, thank you. So as a health insurance broker, one of the many questions that I get to ask my clients, are you blind, disabled, or unable to work? And there are additional resources that are available at the county level or state level with expanded Medicaid. I want to make sure that there is more funding for that and that there are more people working within the county to explain that to people and get them the assistance that they need. Whenever someone can crack that code, they're actually successful at getting the additional health care that they need. Just driving through our community, there are so many places where the crossings go right into a curb. And there are new developments or new roadways that have just been done. Fontaine and Security Boulevard, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. There are so many care facilities there of adults with disabilities, and they don't have a decent crosswalk to go to the convenience store to purchase things for themselves, and it's very dangerous. I want to make sure that our community is fully ADA compliant.
Thank you. Thank you both for answering that question. The next one is for candidate Rosenbaum to begin with, and you'll have 1 minute for each of you to answer the question. The question is, what innovative solution do you plan to introduce in the next legislative session? Interesting, huh?
Yes. I don't really know how to interpret that, but there is one bill that I am absolutely going to get passed because it is affecting all of us in the rural community. When you need an ambulance to take you to the hospital from your home because you are dying, if it is a rural or fire district, it is billed out of network. If a helicopter comes to your house to take you to the hospital, that's $60,000. That is covered by your health insurance. How do I know? It happened to me. I want to make sure that all ambulances are billed in network to insurance companies. They're only regaining 30% of their costs because when someone has $90,000 in medical bills and they have to finance $6,000, the last thing that they're able to do is on top of that pay an additional $3,000 for an ambulance ride. Thank you so much to Senator Tony Exum in the audience because he ran a successful bill that I helped champion, that your medical debt no longer shows up on your credit report, which is helping young people. Those are the kinds of innovative things that I want to do in our community.
All right, thank you. And the same question for you, candidate Bradfield.
Would you repeat that, please?
Yes. What innovative solution do you plan to introduce in the next legislative session?
Innovative is the great word. Innovative, I'm always thinking about affordable housing. Innovative, I think there are creative solutions to the problem of affordable housing. And I think in the earlier debate, the questions were about some small, tiny homes. I think there are ways and places and things that we can do to make affordable housing, but it doesn't have to look always the same.
Okay, thank you very much. I have one more question before we go to a break. The question is for both of you, and I'd like to start with candidate Rosenbaum this time, and you'll each have 1 minute to answer. What steps would you take to make health care more affordable and accessible?
I love this question so much. Open enrollment is happening, and the state of Colorado is doing one of the best jobs in the nation of providing tax credits for working families. And that is where your tax dollars work for yourselves in the form of paying for part of your premium. And I am seeing such a positive outcome in our community. I'm so far, but a friend has joined me in being a certified health insurance broker with Colorado Connect for Health. The bills that I work on also provide no charge for mental health coverage with certain plans, the Colorado Option Plan. This is a third year that we're rolling into that. I'm so excited about that. I just know that there are so many ways to improve healthcare to our community. I can offer you the best health insurance plan in the world, but unfortunately, we don't have the doctors here. And in the rural areas of Colorado, there is one insurance company that's available to you, and that increases your costs. Just know that I am really good at this, and I cannot wait to solve these problems for you.
All right, thank you. And the same question for you, candidate
Thank you.
Bradfield.
I appreciate this question as well. Affordable health care should be something that is available to everybody across the state. I understand that here we live in El Paso County, and we are in the Front Range, and up and down the I-25 corridor, we can find just about any health care facility that we need. But if we are in the rural parts of our state, and there is much, that health care is much more difficult to obtain. And what I would like to do is to see that we take care of our rural Colorado towns and people, that they have the same opportunities for health care that we do.
Okay, thank you both very much. And now I believe we're going to take a quick break. And so that if you'll stick around, we'll come right back to it, and we'll have more questions from the audience for all of you. We thank you all for being here.
Thank you. All right, so as we give our candidates a short break, we're going to say thank you to our co-sponsors. Our media sponsors are Studio 809 Podcast, Longmire Audio Engineering. Again, we're only halfway through. Don't be leaving yet. They are bringing our sound and visuals for tonight's forum. KOAA Channel 5, KRCC Public Radio, our media sponsors. Other nonprofit co-sponsors, AARP, Black and Latino Leadership Coalition, Citizens Project. I can wait for you. It's all good. I'll wait for you. We good? Perfect. Co-sponsors, AARP, Black and Latino Leadership Coalition, Citizens Project, Colorado Latinos Vote, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Latina Equity Foundation, NAACP Colorado Springs, Neighbors for Education, Pikes Peak Diversity Council, Special Kids, Special Families, and Together Colorado, Colorado Springs Faith Table. So thank you to our sponsors. Besides Representative Bradfield already up here with us, we would like to recognize your elected officials in the room this evening. I believe Senator Tony Exum Sr., Senate District 11, might be here. Representative Mark Snyder, House District 18 in the room. School Board District 11 member Julie Ott also in the room. Anyone I missed? We're good? Sorry? Oh, sorry, she's just a candidate, not an elected official. So if you are running for office, raise your hand for me in the room. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you, candidates, for being here. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Duncan, my bad. I did not write that down as well. Dr. Dieter Duncan on City Council here in Fountain. So thank you to those elected officials that are here, and the mayor as well. I missed the mayor. Thank you, Mayor, for being here. You guys are amazingly awesome. We so appreciate you. Again, it's an awesome night. We're so glad to be here. Okay, thank you to those candidates. You guys ready for some more questions? You good? Get right to it. Let's get back over. I'm going to turn it back to your moderator, Jarena. You're on.
All right.
And I think your next person up is candidate
Bradfield, yes, absolutely. Candidate Bradfield, the first question is for you. This one is 30 seconds, is that right? Aha, are we running out of time? So 30 seconds per question for each candidate. The question is, Candidate Bradfield, what made you want to run for this office, and who has endorsed you? 30 seconds.
I worked on other people's campaigns. I saw good people, and I saw others, and I really realized that, and it took a while for me to come to this realization, that I really had what it takes to be a state legislator. And I feel like I have served the 4 years for House District 21, and I've served it well, and I've been a conscientious legislator for the people of our district.
Okay, I feel like we need to give her a chance to say who endorsed her, because that did not come up. Okay, so let's do a minute instead of 30 more seconds to say that who's endorsed you.
Thank you very much. That list gets rather long, but we will start with Sheriff Joe Roybal, District Attorney Michael Allen, any of the Republican legislators from El Paso County. That would be Representative Puglisi, Representative Wilson, and others. My goodness. County Commissioner Lojinos Gonzalez, County Commissioner Stan Vanderwerth, and I
Okay.
will stop there.
Thank you. I know your list is long, so we appreciate you sharing that with us. Candidate Rosenbaum, same question. What made you want to run for this office, and who has endorsed you?
Well, the reason I ran for this office so many times is because we still have to solve the drinking water issue, not only here, but across Colorado, and I go to national conferences every 2 years. So we're actually solving this at the national level because the EPA has finally made regulations on PFAS chemicals, which it has never done on any chemical before. The people who endorse me are the majority of you in the audience and watching from home. You're the reason that we are still running for office. The people who have endorsed me are working families, labor unions, educators, nurses, just so many people, and I have that on my website, lizrosenbaumco.com.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have another question for both of you, and you'll have 1 minute to answer. The question is, starting with candidate Rosenbaum, how do you plan to address gaps in the healthcare coverage, including mental health for our communities and veterans? Our communities' veterans, I'm not sure if that's what they meant, I believe so.
So gaps in the mental health.
For our communities' veterans.
Okay. From what I know, with helping people find access to healthcare and healthcare coverage, is that we need a longer open enrollment period. Since I've been a health insurance broker, I have endorsed and successfully seen the open enrollment window open longer for tax time purposes. So normally open enrollment is November 1st to January 15th, but now if you qualify for a tax credit, you have until April 15th. Another piece of legislation that I worked on is when someone finds out they are pregnant, it creates a special enrollment period, and I would definitely would have supported that. Unfortunately, there are other people in this community that voted no on that bill, but it successfully passed, and I see people getting health care coverage. And these are people who are veterans. And they no longer have TRICARE because they don't qualify, or they don't have access to doctors here. We have people, veterans,
Okay, thank
who
you.
have
Thank you. We're
emergency
right.
situations
I
and
know
no
you have
care.
a lot more to share with us, but we're running
Yes.
out of time. Candidate Bradfield, 1 minute for the same question.
Okay, that mental health is not an easy problem to solve. If it were, it would already be done. First of all, there is a serious lack of providers for mental and behavioral health. And until we have enough people out there to help their clients really get through their condition, we will be having a mental health and behavioral health crisis like we have right now. The second thing is that once we have enough people to provide services, we also have a stigma. There is believe it or not, yes, there is a stigma against mental health and behavioral health. And we need to get through that. For what is done in the Fountain Valley area,
Okay.
we need better communication.
Thank you both for your answers to that question. How are we doing on time? We doing okay on time? All right. Another question for both candidates, and candidate Bradfield, I believe you'll be answering this one first. How would you work with other parties if elected? And 30 seconds for this one.
How would you, the last part of that question, please, again?
Oh, yeah, I'll repeat the entire thing. How would you work with other parties if elected?
Okay.
How would you work with other parties if elected?
If elected, and I am elected, and I have been working with other parties, if we're talking political parties, there isn't a single bill that I have run that did not, to be successful, did not have a Democrat running on it with me, and I know that that is a success factor. I believe in reaching across the aisle. I believe that compromise and collaboration is a much better way than just going it alone.
Okay, thank you. And candidate Rosenbaum, the same question.
In my experience with working directly on legislation that impacts our community, our 6 PFAS bill was not worked on well with local elected officials, and we had to go back 2 years later and do a 7th bill. The bill that we did in 2022 was done successfully in other states with just one bill. Unfortunately, we had to come back and leave out key people that I wish would have worked well with the community in the first place. I understand that not all people can work together, and sometimes for the best of our community, we do have to listen to the voices of the people who live there over the chemical companies that are intentionally poisoning us for profit.
All right, thank you both. The next question, you'll each have 1 minute, and candidate Rosenbaum, you'll be the first to answer. Would you support the reintroduction of the construction wage theft bill that the governor vetoed last year and strengthening the penalties for wage theft in all industries?
Yes, and I would proudly carry that bill, but I know that when I'm elected, I would be a newbie. However, I would work my tail off to get that to pass. And another way that we're doing it is I'm supporting my friend Representative Mark Snyder and winning Senate District 12, because our community has the highest percentage of skilled labor unions, and every single place of employment has a right to collective bargaining.
Okay, thank you. And candidate Bradfield, the same question.
Thank you for the question. I believe in collective bargaining, but I also believe that that people need to earn the wage that they're being offered. I don't know what legislation I would run. This would be a topic that I would need a great deal of research on my part, and so I will just stop my answer right there.
All right, thank you very much. The next question that I have for you both, candidate Bradford, you'll answer that first, and you'll each have 1 minute. It's a follow-up to the last one. What should the legislature do when it comes to addressing green? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I went back. My bad. I went on. No, I'm sorry. I grabbed the wrong card. If local news stations reported on the most important local issues rather than the most recent or controversial ones, what story would be on local news tonight? 1 minute, candidate Bradford. That's
Who goes
interesting.
first?
Candidate Bradfield.
Okay. All right. What would be on the 10 o'clock news? Well, we've talked a great deal Ms. Rosenbaum and I have talked a great deal about affordable housing, so I do believe that would be on the news tonight. I think public safety would be on the news, and public safety has a lot of different looks to it. I think that also mental and behavioral health would be on the news tonight, meaning that we need to have more and better behavioral and mental health facilities, not only for adults, but for children and youth as well.
All right, thank you. Same question.
All right, as a historian, as you know, I love history. I love the feel-good stories that are on the news. I would love to champion a story, a series of them, about our water district managers and wastewater managers. They are the cornerstone of what makes us successful here. The brilliance that our water district managers have had with mitigating the PFAS and the problems that they have solved can be used across the nation, and so many of them are underutilized, under-recognized. Case in point, the Wigwam Water District Manager, Keith, such a cool dude, he actually laid the first water pipe in the community where I lived, and we haven't lived there that long. Also, that really expensive water filtration plant that's built off Wageman, the Army Corps of Engineers built it, but then there was this big mistake that happened, and Bernard solved it with this ice sludge, and it is absolute. I could geek out on it for a long time, but I would definitely highlight our wastewater and water managers.
Thank you. And the last question, each one of you will have 30 seconds, and candidate Rosenbaum, you'll go first. What is your position on amending the Colorado Constitution to include a woman's right to choose? Amendment 79. 30 seconds for that.
I am such an enthusiastic yes for Amendment 79. Healthcare is a human right. Abortion is healthcare, and it is what so many people need when they are at the doctor. In areas such as ours, where we have had an increase exposure to contaminated water, PFAS chemicals cause spontaneous abortions, which are miscarriages. And they terminate pregnancies that are very wanted and planned or unplanned.
Okay.
We cannot kill people in our community by banning health care that is necessary for them to thrive.
Thank you, candidate Rosenbaum, and candidate Bradfield, the same question.
Thank you for the question. I do believe that abortion was this topic of a couple years ago of much legislation for which I voted against. But it still passed. It is the law of the land. It is in state statute. And in my taking an oath of office, I have sworn to uphold the laws and the Constitution of Colorado. However, I do not believe that these state statutes need to be a part of the Colorado Constitution.
Okay, thank you both. We appreciate both of the candidates and for answering those questions. And Shelley, where are we in the program now?
That's the end of our audience-driven questions. We're going to ask the candidates to finish with their 2-minute closing statements, and I believe candidate Bradfield, I'm going to have you up first.
Okay. That's all right. Well, I appreciate very much this opportunity to be with you this evening, and I really want to thank you for the questions from the audience and the questions that I hope we answered them in an adequate manner. I'm Mary Bradfield. I am the representative. I'm running for re-election, and yes, I would sincerely appreciate your vote. Your vote. I do want to thank the League of Women Voters and Widefield Rec Center for hosting this tonight, and thank you very much for being here. Appreciate the opportunity to be before you this evening.
Thank you, and candidate Rosenbaum. 2 minutes for your closing statement. as
All
well.
right, thank you. As your candidate for House District 21, I stand for democracy, public education, reproductive freedom, and civil rights. I support our labor force, collective bargaining, teachers and educators, firefighters, police officers, business owners, families, veterans, and the LGBTQ+ community, communities of color, and I stand against racism, fascism, misogyny, religious coercion, and all forms of bigotry. When people in our community are experiencing injustices, I am the person they call to assist them. So today, as we are having our forum here, there are students fighting for their rights in the school district where adults on the school board are saying horrible things directly to their faces and where state laws are not being upheld. I am for the students of Widefield, Hanover, and Fountain Fort Carson, so they have rights within their education. We deserve a representative who will fight for diversity, equity, and environmental justice, someone who listens and acts. I'm also known as the person who constantly shows up for the things worth fighting for. And in the 3 elections I have run, this is the first time a Republican has agreed to a forum with me. So thank you, Mary. I'm Liz Rosenbaum, and I am the reasonable choice for House District 21. Together, we can build a better future, and you know that in between, I'm taking you up to Denver to teach you how this all works. So more of you can run for office, more of you are involved in the political world, and you're better citizens because of what you have learned. I am so proud of all of you for showing up and having the wherewithal to listen to 2 people who are actively trying to get your vote. And it is up to you to decide who is going to fight for you every single day that they're at the state capitol. I'm Liz Rosenbaum, and I'm here for you.
Thank you
We
both.
can have a round of applause for all of our candidates. Thank you. So that wraps up our live and virtual forum for Colorado State House District 21. Thank you again to Widefield Parks and Rec Center for allowing us to use their facility. We thank you for joining us either in person or virtual. We appreciate you. These recordings are available on the League of Women Voters of the Pikes Peak Region website at LWVPPR.org, on our YouTube channel under Live, and on the League's Making Democracy Work podcast. Remember, the League is here. If you have any questions, email us at lwvppr@gmail.com. I know Terry loves getting emails. Or call us at 719-447-9400. Thank you again for being here. We appreciate you guys. Thanks.